Hey guys, it's Preston with Alpha EDU. Hey guys, it's Preston with Alpha EDU. Hey guys, it's Preston with Alpha EDU. Alpha EDU! Hey, Hey guys, it's Preston with Alpha EDU. Today we're here at Brantley High School, home of the Bulldogs. We're talking about financial literacy, funding your future. We're going to learn some information. We're going to have some fun, and some students are going to walk away with cash money in their pockets. Let's check it out. What's up, Brantley High School? Let's go. I lost all my money yesterday at the other event. That's okay. You don't want this anyways. This is paper money. I have real money that I'm going to give away today. So like I said, my name is Preston Pritchett, and I'm with Alpha EDU. And today, we're doing a presentation called Funding Your Future. Funding Your Future. We're going to talk about money when you get time ready to start your career. We're going to talk about money when it comes time to go to college. We're going to talk about money for your future. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're sitting back. You're glad to be out of class, but you're like, for real, this is what we're talking about today? I'm a 9th grader, I'm an 8th grader, whatever. I'm not even thinking about my future yet. Graduation is 100 years from now. I'm not really ready for that yet. Let me tell you why we're going to focus on that really quickly. I think we probably have some. I saw some people playing earlier. Raise your hand if you're a student athlete. Look at that, Nathan. Almost half the room. Let's see. What sports do we have? Just shout them out. What do you play? Football, track, basketball, football, soccer, softball, track. We got them covered. Basically all the athletes in the room, which is really cool. If you didn't know, and you probably wouldn't know by looking at me because I'm not that big of a guy, but I actually played sports in high school and even went on to play one sport in college. I was a student athlete in college for a little while, and believe it or not, that's a picture of me from practice one day. Here's what I've learned about student athletes. In this country specifically, we have a long history, a tradition of teaching athletics to children, and they grow up and they play it in school. Maybe some people go into college. Maybe some people, I didn't, but some people might even go to play professionally. We have a long history. We just had the Olympics recently. The U.S. did really well. We have a great tradition, wouldn't you agree, of teaching young people how to play athletics, and that's a good thing. But what we don't have as great a tradition of in this country is helping young adults, young people just like yourselves, learn how to manage money the right way, how to win with money. And so one thing that I'm doing, and I know your schools are already working on it, but one thing I'm doing is trying to help us move this next generation, your generation along, and to learn more and more about financial literacy. So that's what we're going to do today. We have 4 topics. We're going to go ahead and jump into the first topic. Hit it for us, Nathan. So the first topic is managing money. I'm going to give you a little bit of information. Then I'm going to get my first volunteer in just a moment. So when it comes to managing money, people who are really smart with their money understand some key terms that you cannot miss out on. Key terms. The first 2 are income and expenses. These are really easy to understand. Income is simply money coming in. If you work a part-time job right now, you have money coming in. If you do a little side hustle, you cut grass, you babysit, you wash cars, you got money coming in. If you just had a birthday recently, you probably had money coming in, right? Any form of money coming towards you is income. That's what you definitely want to make sure you're having. We all have expenses. This is money going out. You buy something from the grocery store, money going out. You buy a soda at the drink machine, money going out. We have money going out all the time. What you have to understand is, as long as your income is more than your expenses, you're in a good spot. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that situation. Now, I do a lot of presentations. I get a lot of audience participation, and I ask students all the time different questions. I've never had anyone raise a hand and say, hey, money man, game show guy, I need less money. No one's ever said that to me. I always have people raise their hands and say, hey, guy with the money jacket, I need more money. Well, fundamentally, there's only 2 ways to get more money. You either increase your income, meaning more coming in, or you decrease your expenses, less going out. That's the only way to do it. So you want to make sure you understand income and expenses. On top of that, when it comes to your income, we got 2 other terms over here, gross and net income. What does that mean? When I say gross, it's not nasty and yucky. This means the overall amount. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine just started a new job. Company said they're going to pay him once a month, $1,000 at the end of the month. He said, cool. All right. So he starts working this job. He's working throughout the month. He's going to get paid at the end of the month. And during the month, he comes to me. He's like, hey, man, I think I need a brand new TV. March Madness is going on. Got to watch all my sports. I'm going to get a big screen TV. All right, cool. Go for it. He's like, man, there's a couple new restaurants in town I want to go try out, these fancy restaurants. I mean, they're a little expensive, right? That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to go out to these restaurants. So he goes to a couple fancy restaurants. Credit card, credit card, credit card. Then he's like, you know what? I want to go on a little vacation this weekend. So he goes out of town. Credit card, credit card, credit card. And at the end of the month, he had spent $1,000 on his credit card. I said, man, are you sure this is okay? He said, it's cool. The company told me they're going to pay me $1,000 salary, right? So I just pay off this credit card. It's good. Well, the payday came, and he looked in his bank account, and guess what? It wasn't $1,000. What he failed to understand is there's a difference between gross and net income. Gross is the overall salary. Net is what actually goes into your bank account or into your pocket. The difference between these things are called deductions. Nod your heads if you've heard of these things called taxes. Yeah, it's tax season right now. Nod your head if you've heard of Social Security. Nod your head if you've heard of Medicare. These are all types of deductions that often come out of people's paychecks that make a difference between what your salary is and what you actually start out with. The bad news is my man did not understand that. And now he's starting off his life in debt. It's not a great place to be. So you want to make sure you understand gross and net income. That's your income, but let's switch over to your expenses. We all have expenses, all different types of expenses. When it comes to expenses, I need you guys to understand there are three main types that we categorize expenses. The first is what we call fixed expense. It stays the same all the time. Each month, each time you pay it, it's the same amount no matter what. Then you have what we call periodic expenses. My man Nathan, who we said hey to earlier, Nathan's a college student over at Troy University. Go Trojans. Nathan pays his tuition once a semester, in August for the fall semester and in January for the spring. Not every month, but periodically he pays tuition. Then we have variable expenses. These are typically the most common. This amount changes every time you buy something. Nathan and I were just talking away here. I got to go grocery shopping tonight. I'll go to the grocery store. I buy roughly the same type of items. But when I get to the cash register, is it always the same amount? No, it changes. It's kind of close, but it's a few dollars more, a few dollars less. That varies, right? So you have periodic, fixed, and variable. You want to make sure you understand. Regardless of your expense types, though, the one thing you have to make sure, if you're going to be smart with money, the one thing you have to make sure you're doing is you're tracking your expenses. I'll give you an example. We just finished football season a few months ago. We had the Super Bowl not too long ago, right? I'm a fantasy football guy. Anybody else? Fantasy football, fantasy sports? Some of you? It's the thing you can do on your apps, on your phone, on your tablet. I was checking my fantasy football app every day. Which players are doing the best? Which players are up for trades? Am I beating my teammates, right? I'm doing my fantasy app every single day. Some of you do the same thing with social media. We're tracking our social media feeds every single day. I'm not saying that's wrong or bad. That's just our human nature. Why aren't we also tracking our money the same way we track our entertainment? Isn't that so much more important? So let's make sure that we're tracking our expenses every single day so we know what money's coming in and what money's going out. We got one more slide, then we get my first volunteer. When it comes to managing money, most people who are smart with money have their money in some type of what we call a financial institution. That's a fancy way of saying a bank or credit union. So really quickly, I want you to shout it out. What are some names of some financial institutions in the area that you've heard of, maybe you've been to before? Brantley Bank, Wells Fargo, Navy Federal Credit Union. Any more? Okay, yep, we got a few more. Yep, absolutely. Y'all named several. There's plenty more, Truist. There's plenty more, right? Most financial institutions fall into one of two categories. Either what we call a commercial bank, which is a for-profit business trying to make money for their shareholders. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Truist would be an example of these for-profit banks. Then you have not-for-profit banks called credit unions. Credit unions. Navy Federal's one, All-In Credit Union, Guardian Credit Union, just to name a few. These are not-for-profit businesses whose goal is to try to be better for their members. They have lower rates typically. They have less fees often. And so when it comes time for you, if you haven't already, to open up an account, check out a bank and a credit union and see which one might be a better opportunity for your needs. Shop around, as we say. Regardless of what you go to, most of these offer two main types of accounts. Nod your heads if you've heard of a checking account and a savings account. Very common, right? What's the difference between the two? Checking accounts are for our everyday money. Just this afternoon, we were in a hustle leaving campus. I was hungry. I'm not gonna lie, I went through McDonald's, right? Probably not the healthiest option, but I went through McDonald's, got some food really quickly. The woman at the window told me the amount. I gave her my debit card. I paid for my food. That debit card is linked to my checking account. Undoubtedly, you've all bought something with a debit card before. That's our everyday money. What's up? I got the nuggets, man. I got the nuggets and some fries. So that's our checking account. That's for everyday money. But a lot of people have our savings account. A savings account is where you want to put extra money, things that you don't need right now, but you're thinking about in the future. I like to tell people, go ahead. Absolutely. Great question. You can absolutely access it. There are some requirements on how often you can transfer money in and out of it, but you can definitely access it whenever you want to. Yes, sir. These are inquisitive students. I like it. What's up?
Are there like requirements for credit union?
They often have membership requirements, but they're very broad. A lot of times it's if you live in that county or area where they service, if you go to school, if you go to church, if you have a family member, pretty much they try to open it up to just about anybody. So great question. So in the savings account, this is where you're going to put your short-term and long-term savings. Let's say short-term, I like to qualify as like 3 to 5 years. What's one thing you're all going to do in the next 3 to 5 years? Graduate high school and then go on to something else. Maybe college. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Maybe something else. When people graduate, they might want to have a graduation party, maybe go on a little trip. You probably want to save money. What about this? You guys are close, if not already close to age 16. You're probably going to buy that costs money, right? So you want to have money in your short-term savings, 3 to 5 years, but you also want to have money in your long-term savings. Long-term, buy a house one day, maybe get married one day. Something everybody in the room, adults included, are going to want to do one day, retire. So you want to have money for short-term and long-term savings, but the third thing you want to have money in your savings account for is that emergency fund. You guys are old enough to understand bad things are going to happen sometimes. You're driving down the road, hit a pothole, boom, tire blows. You're at home taking a shower, hot water goes out, boom, you got to replace your water heater. There are situations in life that you just can't be prepared for that happen, and you need to have money in your emergency fund, which is should be located in your savings account for that. And then finally, I'm about to get my first volunteer, Nathan. Finally, we have specialty accounts. A lot of these financial institutions offer special accounts that are for additional money besides your checking and your savings. Things like a certificate of deposit called a CD or a money market account, sometimes called an MMA. And these are extra accounts that have even higher interest rates. In this case, interest is good. Sometimes as high as 3 to 5%. So if you have additional money, put it in one of these. You have to leave it in there for a long time, but it can earn you even more money. All right, that's enough information for now. Nathan, I think it's time for our first volunteer. Anybody willing? I like that. We got a lot of hands up in the room. Nathan, I'm going to let you choose our first volunteer. Pick somebody for us, Nathan. Front row? All right, come on over. Hey, haters. What's your name? Colin. Round of applause for Colin. Let's hear it up for Colin. All right. Colin, you were on the front row.
Yes, sir.
Were you paying attention?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel confident?
Yes, sir.
Think you can answer these 3 questions?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's find out. First question, Nathan. Colin, purchasing groceries is which type of expense? Is a fixed expense, periodic, variable, or seasonal? What do you think, Colin? He says it's a fixed expense. Here's the deal. If he gets it wrong, nothing happens. If he gets it right, I want to hear you guys cheer. What's the answer? Is it a fixed expense? Oh, it's a variable expense. That's okay. No big deal. 2 more questions. No booze. No booze. Only support here. Only support. All right, let's go. Number 2, Colin. You can bounce back right here. In which account do people typically put their emergency funds? In a savings account, a checking account, a certificate of deposit, or a money market account? Where do they put their emergency funds? Savings account, checking, CD, or MMA? Savings account, checking. All right, he says savings. Let's see. Is he correct? Let's go! All right. All right. Very subtle hints. Very subtle hints. Nice job. All right. Number 3, last one, Colin. What is a good savings rate for a certificate of deposit? I said this at the very end. Is it 1 to 2%, 3 to 5%, 6 to 7%, or 9 to 10%? You want to? Oh, we got the 6. Yep, we got that going on. You want to ask the audience what they think? What do y'all think? Shout it out. Well, now he's changing. What do you think, Nate? Colin? All right, he's forgoing the 6-7 meme, and he's going for the 3 to 5%. Is he correct? He is. All right. 2 for 3. 2 for 3. All right, Nathan, show him which game he's going to play first. You're going to play our cash cube game. For every question you got correct, which was 2, you get 5 seconds for a total of 10 seconds. Nathan's going to blow up our cash cube over here. You're going to be placed inside the cash cube, and you're going to have 10 seconds to grab as much cash as possible. Go ahead and blow it up for us. Come around the back, Colin. All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to put you in first, and then we'll put the money in after it. Wait till I say go. We're going to have a countdown on the screen. I'll say go. You try to grab as much as you can, okay? The only rules, you can't. Sometimes it gets on the top and the bottom. You can't. You just got to grab it out of the air. Then I'll tell you to step out, and you'll take it over to Nathan. He'll count it up for you. All right? Good luck, buddy. All right, I'm going to pull it up just for a second. All right, we have Colin in the booth. I have a big bag of cash right here. I'm going to put it inside the booth. He'll have 10 seconds. What I need you guys to do, I need you to cheer him on and help me count down from 10 to let him know how much time he has left. Everybody got it? A lot. All right. Wait till I say go, okay? All right, buddy. Everybody ready? Nathan, we ready? On your mark. Get set. Go! 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Time's up. Come on out. Come on out. Step on out. All right. Grab these ones that fell out, too. Grab all those. You can grab those, too. All right, grab a few more right there that fell out. All right, there's one on the stairs over there. All right, you got it all? Take all that to Nathan over there at the table. All right, round of applause for Colin. All right, Nathan's going to count that for us. You come back over here for a second. He's going to count that up for us while we chat really quickly. Have you ever been in a money booth like that before?
I have.
You have. You have experience with this. All right, so what was your strategy going into this then?
Grabbing money.
Keeping it simple, grabbing money. Was it easier? Was it harder than you thought?
It was easier than I thought it was.
Okay, easier than you thought. Do you have a guess at how much money you're going to walk away with here? $19, $20. All right, Nathan, tell us the total amount Colin's going home with. $22. At the end of the game, I'll bring all the contestants back up, and I'll give you your money, okay? Round of applause one more time for Colin. All right, now you guys understand how the presentation goes. That's one. We have 3 more topics, 3 more contestants to try to win some money, so let's keep on rolling. We've talked about money management. Now we're on to credit and savings. Let's go ahead and jump into it. When we talk about credit, it's probably a word you've heard before, but you may not understand what it means. Credit is simply borrowing someone else's money to use as your own. We call that a loan, right? And a lot of times people have to loan money in their lives. In just a moment, we'll talk about the 4 main types of loans most people take out. We have a mortgage, which is a home loan, a car loan, student loans, and the credit card. A lot of people don't think about the credit card being a type of a loan. When it comes to loaning money, you often have to go to a financial institution. We mentioned earlier, a bank or a credit union. But guess what? They don't loan money the same way to everybody. Now, they can't discriminate based on gender or race or ethnicity or age. Those are against the law. But what they can make changes on is based on how you have proven to use money in the past. And this is where these terms come into play. Nod your heads if you've heard of credit score, credit report. You've probably seen commercials, may have had conversations with your family about these. What do these mean exactly? Well, a credit score and ultimately a credit report simply shows how good you are at paying back money you've been loaned. That's all it is. How good are you at paying back money you've been loaned? I'll give you an analogy really quickly about credit scores and credit reports. Now, I need to pick somebody. This is not for volunteer. I'm just going to look around the room really quickly. All right. Right here in the red shirt. What's your name? Braden. All right. I've never met you before, right? We don't know each other. Let's say that I wanted to find out what type of student Braden is. Is he a really high-achieving student? Is he kind of bottom of the class? What is it like? I don't know. If I wanted to find out what type of student Braden is, I might ask him for this number. It starts with a G, Braden. That would tell me what type of student you are. That number is a GPA. He got it right. Grade point average. Everybody has one, right? That number tells me what type of student you are. It goes from 0 at the bottom to 4.0 at the top. Some schools go above a 4.0, but whatever. 0 to 4. If you have a 4.0 GPA, that means you make all A's. 3.0 GPA will be all B's, so on and so forth, right? Just like that, if a financial institution wants to know how good you are at borrowing money, they'll look at your credit score. The credit score doesn't go from a 0 to a 4.0. It goes from a 300 at the bottom to to an 850 at the top. 300 at the bottom to 850 at the top. And the higher your credit score, not only is it more likely you'll get the loan that you want, but you'll have a better interest rate, which is going to save you money in the long run. But credit scores don't always tell the full picture, just like a GPA may not tell the full picture. Braden, right? Now, Braden already told me he could tell me his GPA and let me know, but maybe Braden's had a tough year. Maybe these classes have been a little extra hard for him. He's had some other stuff going on. He's just had a tough year, and his GPA right now is not as good as it maybe has been in the past. Well, if I really want to know the full picture, I could ask Braden for this other document. I might have to go to the office and ask for this document. It starts with a T. That would give me very good. You guys know it, the transcript. That's going to show me all the classes he's taken since kindergarten or first grade, right? All the grades he's made, all the teachers he's had. It gives me a full picture of how he is as a student. Similarly, the credit report shows the full information of how you are as a person who borrows money. And it goes back 7, sometimes 10 years. Think about this right now. You're 14, 15, maybe 16 years old. Think about that extending into your mid-20s. What you do with money right now can affect you when you're 10 years down the road, which is really dangerous. So you want to be careful there. And a lot of people get in trouble with their credit cards. We'll talk about more of those in just a moment. Next slide, Nathan. Earlier, I mentioned the 4 main types of loans: a mortgage, which we call a home loan, auto loans, student loans, and credit cards. Did you guys know that when you go to buy a house or buy a car, which is something most people want to do one day, the price on the sticker, the price on the sign is not always what you're going to have to pay? I'll give you an example. Somebody recently, I know, went to buy a car. The sticker price on the car said $20,000. It's a normal price for a used car. Okay. Person doesn't have $20,000. Most people don't. So I had to go to the bank to get a loan. Goes to the bank, says, I want to buy this car right here. They check it out. They say, okay, it's worth $20,000. Cool. We'll give you a loan. Check your credit score. Check your credit report. And the bank says, how much do you need in a loan? Guy says, well, $20,000. They say, nope, we're not going to give you that much. What he didn't understand is a lot of banks, a lot of financial institutions require what's called a down payment. Money you have to have up front for what you're wanting to buy. And a lot of times for a house and for a car, it can be as high as 20%. So let's do that analogy again. The $20,000 car, 20% is 1/5, right? My math guys, my math girls. That would be $4,000 that person would need to have up front for that car. It gets even more when you talk about buying a home. A lot of people don't have that money saved up, so that's why the savings accounts are so important that we talked about earlier. On top of that, for a home, you often have appraisal fees, closing costs, home inspection fees. My adults in the room know what I'm talking about. For automobiles, registration fees, title fees, sales tax dealer fees can get you sometimes. So you have all these other things that you need to be aware of before you go to buy something, because the sticker price is not what you often pay. Now, we mentioned credit cards a moment ago. Credit cards can be really beneficial tools, but they're often very dangerous. I use the analogy like a knife. If you're in the kitchen, if you're a chef and you're cutting up food, a knife can be really beneficial, but it can also be a dangerous weapon, right? And so you want to be very careful with that knife, just like you do with credit cards. Credit cards have the highest, often the highest interest rates of any type of loan you might be able to get. Sometimes 20, 25, or even 30% interest, which is unreal. So you want to be very careful about those. And then student loans, which we'll talk about in just a moment, student loans can have better interest rates, but they often get people into debt because they had to take so much money out to pay for schooling. So you got to be careful there. Last slide, I'm going to get my next volunteer. So when it comes to credit and savings, one term or one analogy I want you guys to be aware of, one mentality I want you to be aware of, is what wealthy people do. Wealthy people don't just work hard for their money, they have their money working hard for them. If you want to have your money working hard for you, you have to start moving it over into savings accounts. And this is where the idea comes in of paying yourself first. Everybody say it with me. Pay yourself first. What does that mean exactly? That means every time you get money coming in, put some of it into a savings plan. Doesn't have to be the whole thing, put a little bit. My first job out of college, guys, I wasn't making very much money, I'll be honest with you. I was barely making my ends meet. I was out on my own in the real world, as we say sometimes, and I was barely making my ends meet. I talked to my mom. She's a very smart woman, by the way. My mom calls me up. She says, "Are you putting any money in your savings account?" I said, "Mom, I'm barely making ends meet right now." She said, "You got $5? "Yeah, I got $5. She said, "Put that in your savings." "Mom, what's $5 going to do?" She said, "Nothing right now." But it's not about the amount, it's about the habit. It's about the mentality. She said, "Right now, put $5 away for every paycheck. Soon you'll make a little bit more money, you can put $10, then 20, then 50, then 100. And at some point, it's actually going to become real money. But the habit will already be there. So start putting that money away right now. Pay yourself first and start small. A lot of experts who will tell you to follow what we call the 50-30-20 rule. 50-30-20. If you're a math person, you'll know you add all that up, adds to 100, right? 50% of everything you get coming in should be paid toward your needs. Food, clothing, shelter, water, internet, cell phone, car. We can say all those things are needs, that's fine. 30% should go toward your wants, things you like to do, whatever is entertainment and fun for you. But 20% of everything you got going, it's okay, guys. 20% of everything you have coming in should go toward your savings. 50 goes to your needs, 30 to your wants, but 20%, 1/5, should go toward your savings. All right, Nathan, I think it's time for our next volunteer. A moment ago we had Colin, and let's go to our next volunteer. Nathan, pick us out somebody. See if you can get a female student this time. We had Colin last time. Pink shirt. Come on over. Pink dress. There you go. Round of applause. Round of applause. What's your name? Brenna? Yeah. All right, nice to meet you, Brenna. I'm Preston. All right, we had Colin. Now we have Brenna. Am I saying that right, Brenna? Okay. All right, don't worry about them. We're going to focus. Just like with Colin, 3 questions. Listen up, listen up, listen up. We're going to see if she can answer these 3 questions. The more questions you answer correctly, the more chances you have to win big money, okay? All right, here we go. First question. Which of these is not, N-O-T, not one of the 4 common types of loans? Is it a mortgage, a credit card, a business loan, or an auto loan? She says auto loan. Is she correct? Oh, it's a business loan. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay. No big deal. 2. That's okay, that's okay. We got 2 ones left, 2 big ones left. Here you go. Number 2, Nathan. What is a common down payment amount for a home? 20%, 30, 50, or 75? 20%, 30, 50, or 75?
Oh, no.
That's okay. 20%, 30, 50, or 75? She said 20. Show us 20, Nathan. It's 20. Let's go. All right. Hold that one for me. All right, one last question, Brenna. Following what I just talked about, the 50, 30, 20 principle says that you should put 20% of all your income towards what? Should 20% go toward your needs, your wants, your donations, or your savings? She knew that one confidently. Showed me savings. Let's go. All right. All right. Now, the game you're going to play right now is called Prize Drop. Behind you is a big Plinko-style board. In just a moment, you're going to climb the ladder back there, and you're going to drop a puck down the board. Here's the deal, and I need to hear you guys get a little excited about this. We have 7 slots here at the bottom of the board. If it lands in slots 1 or 7, she'll win $10. Little applause, $10. If it lands in slots 2 or 6, $20. If it lands in slots 3 or 5, $30. And if it lands in the middle slot 4, it'll be $50. All right, so let me hold those for a moment. Step back here very carefully. Now, I've tested this ladder. It's very safe. You're going to climb right up here where you can look over the side, okay? It's very safe. All right, can you? There she is. All right, hold on to these. Hold on to those. Now, don't do it yet. In just a moment, Brenda. In just a moment. Listen up, listen up. Shh. Hey, we can't move forward till you guys listen. There are times to get loud, but there are times to listen. All right, cool. We still got 2 more games to get to, man. All right, here we go. In just a moment, you're going to put one of these pucks on the top somewhere on the board, all right, toward the top. When I say go, you'll let it fall, and we're all going to cheer you. We're going to have a drum roll going, and you're shooting for the 4 because the 4 is the most money, okay? All right. Are you ready? Go ahead and get your first one up. Everybody be ready to cheer her on as this goes down. On your mark, get set, go! Big money. Here we go. Big money, big money, big money. Hey! $50! Let's go! All right. Well, I think it's a pretty safe question, but do you want to keep the 50 or try again? Keep the 50! Let's go! Come on down. Nicely done. All right. Like I told Colin, I'll bring you back up at the end and give you your money, okay? One more round of applause for Brenna. Very nice. All right. All right, we're giving away some big money. We have 2 more topics, 2 more presentations, 2 more games, 2 more contestants. So let's keep on rolling through it. Now we're moving into the costs of college, something that all of you should be aware of, the costs of college. When it comes to college, you ought to know there are 3 main types of costs associated with attending college. First and obvious is the tuition. When you attend college, a lot of times you have to pay to go to school. When it comes to tuition, you ought to know that in this century, since the year 2000, the cost of college in America has doubled in price. It is astronomically high compared to what it used to be decades ago. The average cost of tuition in the U.S. is more than $9,000. Did you know that? More than $9,000. That's crazy, right? Out-of-state tuition out of Alabama is over $28,000. So that means per year, by the way. So that means the cost of college can be really, really high. In addition to tuition, you guys ought to know that you often have to pay for what's called room and board. If you live on campus in a dorm or a residence hall, you have to pay for that as well. At a 4-year school, the average cost of room and board can be over $12,000. So that's often more than tuition costs. And then finally, you ought to know that you have to pay for books and supplies. That's right. These guys are excited about it. I know, I can see it on their faces. When you go to college, you don't get your books for free. You often have to pay for them. You have to pay for your books, which is crazy, right? So you want to make sure that you understand how much they can cost. Per year, the average cost of a textbook can be over $1,200. The good news is the U.S. government has some plans to help students pay for these. So when it comes time for you, if you choose to go to college, you and your family talking about the cost of books, the cost of all your supplies, the U.S. government has a tax credit from the IRS that you can be awarded up to $2,500 to help you pay for the cost of your textbooks, which is really good. So when it comes time for that, look out for that tax credit of up to $2,500. Now, you ought to know that regardless of all these types, there are different types of schools charging these different costs to you. Now, obviously, you've heard of some of these, I'm sure, but you guys have in-state and out-of-state tuition. In-state would be schools located here in the state of Alabama. What are some colleges you guys have heard of located here in Alabama? Shout them out.
West Alabama.
West Alabama, Auburn, Troy, South. Yep, you got them.
North Alabama.
North, there you go. What you got? Okay. Absolutely. She asked a great question. Listen. She asked a great question. She says, out-of-state tuition higher? Absolutely. As we mentioned earlier, sometimes 2-3 times as much as in-state tuition. So yes, out-of-state is often higher. But there are great schools located outside of the state of Alabama. What are some of those colleges y'all have heard of before not in Alabama? Tennessee, MIT, Kentucky, Yale, Harvard, Florida. There you go, FSU. There you go, Print. Yep, exactly. You guys got it. So when you're thinking about going to college, come back around. When you're thinking about going to college, remember there are in-state schools and there are out-of-state schools. But additionally, there are public and there are private schools. Just like in high schools, there are public and private colleges. Public schools not only charge tuition, but they get a lot of their funding from the state and federal governments to assist in that. Private schools often don't get that funding, so most of their money comes from tuition, which means usually private schools cost more than public schools. Does that mean that's wrong or bad? That's just what it is. Private schools often cost more, so you want to pay attention to that. Then you also have what we call 2-year and 4-year schools. 2-year schools we refer to often as community colleges. Nod your heads if you've heard of these before. There are several located in your area. Community colleges can be really, really beneficial places to start out your college career, because you can go there for 1 or 2 years and knock out a lot of your classes and then transfer to a 4-year school. 4-year schools would be schools that some of y'all mentioned already, like an Auburn in Alabama, a Troy University where I work and where Nathan goes to school in Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Tuskegee. These are all examples of 4-year schools. Community colleges allow you to go there for a couple of years and then transfer and pay less cost in tuition before you go. And then finally, we have what we call career tech schools. These are specialty schools that are for a specific purpose. So let's say that you want to get into healthcare, but you don't want to do a 4-year school. You can go into a technical school and learn how to become a dental assistant and have a great career and only have to go for a couple of semesters. Let's say that you want to get into technology. You can go and learn cybersecurity and not have to go get a 4-year degree and spend a lot more money. You could go and learn a great trade like welding. When you put pieces of metal together, right? They make great money, by the way, more than I make. And you can learn that very quickly at a technical school. Maybe you're interested in cooking. You want to become a chef one day and work at a restaurant. Maybe have your own restaurant. Go to a culinary arts college and learn specifically. You don't have to take all the math or all the history. You just learn about cooking and you get certified in that. So there are lots of different trade schools. So we have trade schools, 2-year schools, public and private, in-state, out-of-state. Again, in-state, like you asked, will have low tuition cost. Alabama has really low in-state tuition, but interestingly, the state with the lowest in-state tuition is actually down south in Florida. So if you happen to relocate before you go to college, and you have to live in Florida, but if you live there, they have the lowest right now. Last slide, and then I'll get my next volunteer. Oh, no, it's time for questions. That's right, excuse me, time for questions. I need another volunteer. Nathan, look around the room. We had a male, then a female. Get us another guy, Nathan. A lot of people to choose from. All right. Come on down. What's your name? Jaden. All right, nice to meet you, Jaden. Round of applause for Jaden. Come on right over here, Jaden. All right, we had Colin first, then Brenna, right? $20-something, $50 winner. Let's see how well you can do, Jaden. All right, Jaden, here we go. First question. How much of a tax credit can students receive from the IRS for purchasing textbooks? $1,000, $2,000, $2,500, or $3,500? $2,500. He said it confidently. Show me $2,500. Let's go! He was paying attention. He was paying attention. The TV's happy for you, man. I like it. Number 2, which state Jaden, offers the lowest tuition rates for in-state? Alabama, Florida, Georgia, or Tennessee? He says Florida. Let me hear you get loud if he's right. It's Florida! 2 for 2. All right. Can he go 3 for 3? Troy University, where Nathan goes to school, where I work, just down the road from us, a great college, Troy University, is an example of which type of college? A private school, a trade school, a 2-year school, or a 4-year school? Is he 3 for 3? Let's see. Let's go! Nice job. All right, the game you'll be playing, Jaden, is the money wheel. You're going to get 1 spin for each question you got correct, so 3 spins total. There are 16 wedges on the wheel here. Let me hear you get a little excited for our numbers in black. $2, $4, $6, and $8. A little excitement. Okay, appreciate you. Then we have our numbers in green, 10, 15, and 20. Then we have a number down here in silver, $25. And we have our golden prize, $50. All right, man. You have 3 spins. After each spin, we'll see what it lands on. You'll have a choice. Do I want to keep that amount or do I want to give that up and spin again? Either side, you can do it from your side. You'll grab onto it, give it a good spin, let it roll around, and we'll see what it lands on, okay? While it's rolling around, I hear you guys cheering on Jaden. On your mark, get set, go. Here we go. Big money, big money, big money. What's it going to land on? What's it going to land on? All right, here comes a 50. Here comes a 50. Here comes a 50. Oh! $10. You want to keep the 10 or spin again? Spin again. Here we go. Go for it. 1, 2, 3, go. Here we go. Big money, big money, big money. Let's go. Keep it up. All right, Jaden, your second amount. Your second amount. There's the 50. It's going by. Here comes the 25. It's slowing down. We'll get back to the 50 here. And it's going to be $6. Spin it again. One more time. One more time. This is your final amount. Whatever it lands on is what you go home with. On 3. 1, 2, 3, go. Here we go. Big money, big money, big money. All right. There goes the 50. Here comes the 25. Oh! $4. All right. Thank you for participating. I'll bring you back up to the end for your $4, okay? Round of applause. Woo! Nathan, we got lucky there. It was close. It was close. All right. Last one. Last topic. Last game. Last volunteer. Here we go. The final topic, guys, is talking about paying for college, okay? When it comes time for you to actually choose to go to college, I want you to understand how you can make it more affordable because as we just learned, it can be really expensive. So let's talk about how we can do this. Paying for college. There's some areas, some things you can do before you actually go to college to make it less expensive. Now, I think Brantley High School already does this. If not, correct me, but I believe you guys are already exposed to what we call dual enrollment opportunities. Very good. You guys are already aware. Dual enrollment is opportunities for you to be able to take college classes while in high school and get credit for both. It often is very affordable. In fact, I don't know about the community colleges around here, but I know for a fact that Troy University offers dual enrollment opportunities at $33 a credit hour. So less than $100 a class, you can take a college course, which is really awesome. Other schools often offer AP, which is called Advanced Placement Classes, or IB, International Baccalaureate. These work similarly to dual enrollment, but you often have to take a test at the end to make sure you pass it. But those can still give you college classes. So you want to do some of those things beforehand to lower the cost of college. So when you come to college, you're already ahead of the game. Some things you can do during college. You can find cheaper living arrangements, right? If you're trying to find a place to live, instead of living on campus and paying that high price, maybe you have a family member or a friend you live with for a while, or maybe you commute back and forth to save money. Maybe you work part-time. You may not know this, but up to almost 50% of every college student works part-time during college. And then finally, as we mentioned earlier, you can attend community college and then transfer. Approximately one-third of all community college students end up transferring to a four-year school. Then, the last strategies, besides before college and during college, go back one more slide, Nathan. The last thing you can do, other strategies, you can choose to work full-time, either during college or beforehand. So after you graduate high school, maybe you start working and making some money. If you work full-time for certain companies, they will actually help pay for some of or all of your college tuition. We call it tuition assistance. Companies like Amazon, Walmart, Starbucks, you mentioned one earlier today, Publix. These companies will pay some or all of your college costs when you get ready to go there, as long as you work for that company a certain number of years. So I know these guys right here are getting excited about working for one of those companies. I'm glad about that. You also could choose to go into the military. Not for everybody, but some people might want to go in the military when they get out of high school. You work for a certain number of years in the military, and they will actually pay for your college expenses, often referred to as the GI Bill. And you can choose to go to college and get that paid for by the government, which is really cool. The final opportunity is to do what we call a 529 plan. 529 is simply a state-sponsored college investment program that you, your family, your friends can put money into and earn investment interest tax-free that can be paid for college tuition. My wife and I have a 3-year-old son. We've already started one of these 529 plans for him in hopes that one day when he's your age and a little bit older, he'll choose to go to college and we'll be able to pay for it because, again, it's only getting more and more expensive. In addition to that, the 529 plans don't just pay for tuition. They can actually cover room and board sometimes, and they can even cover some of those other costs we mentioned earlier, like a computer or a printer or internet or those sorts of things. You can cover a lot of costs with that. All right, last slide, then we're getting our final volunteer. One thing that everybody ought to do when you get ready to graduate high school is to fill out what we call the FAFSA, Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Even if you're not sure about going to college or not, fill it out. This form allows you to identify what funding from the federal government you're eligible for. And it often comes in two forms, federal loans and grants. So let's talk about those really quickly. Federal loans are loans from the Department of Education at the federal government to help you pay for college expenses. They often come in the forms of subsidized and unsubsidized loans, which just means the interest is a little bit different. And those loans will help you cover the costs of college. The bad news is you have to pay those back. And the interest keeps building while you're in school. And once you get out of school, a lot of times you have up to 6 months before you have to start paying that back. So if you drop out or you take a break from college, or when you graduate, 6 months later, you got to start paying those loans back whether you have a job or not. So you want to be very careful to not take out any more loan money than you need. The other opportunity is right here. We have grants. This is the good money. Grants are offered a lot of times to help students from low-income households be able to afford college. The good thing about grants and how they're different from loans, you don't have to pay them back. So you definitely want to make sure you're filling out the FAFSA to determine how much money you're eligible for, both in loans and grants. But again, I see some of you nodding your heads, only take out as much money as you need, because right now the average federal student loan debt is over $38,000 per person, which is incredibly high. Now that's all the information. I think it's time for our final volunteer. We've had Colin, we've had Brenna, we've had Jaden.
Time for another boy.
Time for another boy? I don't know. We got a couple ladies in the room. How about right here on the end? Come on up. Round of applause for AJ. Round of applause for AJ. Stand right there for me, AJ. All right, you've seen this done a few times. You're going to have 3 questions. See how many you can get correct. If she gets it right, I want to hear you guys cheer on AJ. Here we go. First question, Nathan. Besides tuition, AJ, which of the following expenses can a 529 plan cover? Room and board, textbooks, technical equipment, or all of these? All of them. She says all of these. Is she correct? Let's go! 1 for 1. Y'all can get excited for her. Don't have your hands in your pockets. Get excited. All right, number 2. Approximately which percentage of community college students transfer to a 4-year school? Now, earlier I mentioned this as a fraction. You've got to transition it to a percentage. How many students from a community college go to a 4-year school? 20%, 33%, 50%, or 75%? She said it's 1/3. So think about what would that be as a percentage, AJ? All right, hearing some audience help. She says 33. Is she correct? Let's go. 2 for 2. All right. Last question. She said thank you for your help. They'll want some money when you win later. All right, last one. Here we go. What is the average federal loan debt in the U.S.? 12,000, 24, 38, or 50?
28. No, wait, I lied. 28 is not 1.
What do you think? 12, 24, 38, or 50?
38.
She says 38. Is she correct? Let's go! 3 for 3. All right, your final game. AJ, you're going to play our cash mash game. The way this works, you get 1 punch for each question you got correct, so up to 3. Each time I'm going to pull out a card. We'll see how much money you win. So come on over here to our cash mash game. AJ, you can tell there are 42 holes on the board here. Behind each of these holes is a playing card. Looks like this. It has my company logo on it. But instead of having the joker like this one, it actually has an amount. Now, if you pull a 2 through a 10, that's going to get you that number of dollars. So a 7 would get you $7. Make sense? Nod your heads. However, there are 2 jacks on the board, and these guys are excited about knowing the jacks are worth $15. Let me hear a little excitement. $15. There are 2 queens on the board. They're worth $20. There's 1 king worth $25. And if you happen to pull the 1 ace on the board, it's worth $100. All right. Here's the deal. After each punch, I'll read it out. You'll have to decide, do you want to keep that amount or do you want to give it up to try again? All right, go ahead and hit your first punch. You can give it a little, there you go. All right. Her first punch right here in the bottom corner is a jack that is worth $15. You want to keep the 15 or do you want to try again for a higher amount?
I'll keep the 15.
She's keeping the 15. All right. Round of applause for AJ. All right. Thank you for the coordinated applause. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As we wrap up, you can applaud for me in a moment. As we wrap up, go ahead to the next slide. I want to let you guys know how much I appreciate being here. You were a fantastic audience. I'm so glad I got to be here at Brantley High School. I cannot wait to come back. For our winners, in just a moment, you'll come back up. We'll take a photo. I'll get you your cash money, and you'll go home with some cash in your hands. But for everybody, whether you're up here or not, I have a little note for you, and on that note are a couple of things. There's an additional resources QR code you can scan that takes you to my website to give you more info about what we talked about today. There is a little survey. It takes about 2 minutes to complete. If you'll do that for me, it's anonymous. It lets me know how much you liked today's presentation. And there's a small little wristband on this for everybody so you can remember the presentation, remember the things we talked about, and tell your friends about it. Thank you so much to Brantley High School for letting me be here with you guys today. Let me get my winners up here. Everybody else, have a great rest of your day.